It's the beginning of a new era for prototype racing, as Toyota was the first manufacturer to officially unveil their completed and track-tested Le Mans Hypercar, the GR010. The GR010 will be competing alongside the Glickenhaus SCG007, Alpine's grandfathered LMP1, and the Baikala's Hypercar in the 2021 FIA World Endurance Championship, which includes the 2021 24 Hours of Le Mans. There's been some confusion and misconceptions that I've seen on social media following the announcement, and I'll be trying to clarify these and explain the differences from its LMP1 predecessor over the next few minutes. First off, the power unit. For starters, Toyota are using a larger 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6, which is more powerful than their 2.4-liter twin-turbo V6 from the TS050. The new V6 is capable of churning out roughly 670 horsepower, which is a healthy step up from the TS050 at just shy of 500 horsepower. On the flip side, the hybrid system of the new Hypercar is only good for 268 horsepower, while the TS050 again put out around 500. So what's notable here? Well, the GR010 will only be able to use its full 670 horsepower from the engine when the hybrid system is not active. This means that the combined maximum power output from the car will be around that 670 horsepower mark before adjustment for the balance of performance. While the combined power output will be more than 300 horsepower less than the LMP1 car that came before it, there's around 170 horsepower more coming from the engine itself. This could play a significant role in the GR010's top speed at Le Mans, as the LMP1 hybrids had never been chart-toppingly quick in the speed traps, with their hybrid power cutting out well before 200 miles per hour. Additionally, this power will be put to the ground through a 7-speed gearbox compared to the TS050's 6-speed. Alright, I'm finally done saying horsepower, now let's move on to the hybrid system itself. As specified in the LMH regulations, there will only be one hybrid generator and motor, which will be placed on the front axle. LMP1 hybrids were allowed to have 2 hybrid generators and motors, which could be placed on both the front and rear axles. Finally, just as it was in the TS050, the hybrid energy will be stored in a lithium-ion battery cell. Power unit out of the way, let's get on to the biggest difference between this car and the LMP1 TS050 that came before it. Well, I already said it, it's bigger. And heavier for that matter too. The GR010 is 250mm longer, 100mm wider, and 100mm taller to be exact. This really isn't too significant, but if you ever talk to anyone who has seen these cars race, they'll probably tell you just how small LMP1 cars were in person. Like, they were really small. Oh yeah, and it's 162 kilograms heavier as well. That's 357 pounds for us Imperial lads. And that right there is probably the most critical factor in this car's performance. These cars are expected to be around 10 seconds slower per lap around Le Mans. They just aren't as nimble, they have less combined power, but they're much cheaper than the LMP1 hybrids that came before it. And in the favor of car counts and competition, I'm all for it. The aerodynamics of the car are obviously much different as well, with a dorsal fin that does not extend all the way to the rear wing. The rear wing itself is also quite different, utilizing a swan neck style that reminds me of the Honda Speedway Aero kit from IndyCar a few years back. Le Mans Hypercars will also no longer be able to have separate aero packages for high and low downforce as we've seen in the past. Instead, Toyota will be limited to adjusting the rear wing for the low downforce events, notably Le Mans. Now, I've seen a lot of people on social media immediately quoting this car's styling. "Oh, that just looks like an LMP1 car, you know?" Well, yeah, it does. And that makes sense. LMP1 cars were already some of the most aerodynamically efficient cars in the world, and in a class where aerodynamic design is still pretty open, it shouldn't be a surprise that Toyota went down this route. The hypercar class was never about bringing cars like the 1995 Le Mans winning McLaren GTR back. It was about making a new class that manufacturers could enter with the same radical body styles and road-relevant technology as before, but at a fraction of the cost, while also encouraging limited road-going models of similar cars like what was done with the late 90s GT1 class. I, for one, love the direction that global prototype racing is headed, and couldn't be more excited for the addition of new LMH manufacturers down the road. Those are some of my thoughts on Toyota's new hypercar, but I'd love to hear yours down in the comments. Who would you like to see enter the class down the road? If you enjoyed the video, as always, I'd appreciate you leaving a like, and consider subscribing for more sports car racing content. If you want to see my bad takes and worthless opinions, you're more than welcome to follow me on Twitter as well. The link is in the description. For now, take care, and I hope to see you in the next video.